we all talk to a lot of different executives and companies, and it has everything to do with the culture that the senior most executives put in place.
Yeah.
And tolerance for building or formalizing a repeatable cadence is low because they want numbers every quarter.
Yeah.
Well, they usually have set the numbers incorrectly because they have arbitrarily modeled it from the top down rather than bottoms up.
Right.
So the first problem is you got to unpack that, and that takes courage. I don't think a lot of people have the fortitude to do that. They don't have the courage to do it.
This episode is brought to you by TestBox. Bart, it's great to have you here today.
Man, I'm honored to be here. I am super happy to meet you in person.
Absolutely.
Contribute, share, and learn.
Yeah, you've been on my radar as someone to talk to, and you actually flew in for this. So I really appreciate you doing that, right?
Likewise. So I obviously our mutual friend, Deirdre Summercamp,
absolutely,
whom I'm working very closely with now, she hooked us up, and I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm thankful for her. I've known her for years, and when she mentioned you to me, I've been following your content, following along on your mindset and methodology, and I was like, wow, this is going to be a perfect conversation. So I'm looking forward to diving in today. But before we get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Tell us a little bit about the company that you're at today, and maybe what got you to here today.
Awesome. So, well, I'm a journeyman through and through. I used to be scared to say it, but I never finished college. I went straight. I was in college, and then I got a job, and I'm like, I can't go back. And it was in sales, and it never stopped.
Amazing.
So, so my journey, all different roles from SDR to CRO, surrounded myself with smart people.
Yeah.
And I became coachable way too late in life. But when I became coachable, things started to fly for me. And the company that I'm at now is Scalibrium. So founded mid-2022, and it's all about developing people and role-based skills in field organizations.
Amazing. Why did you create Scalibrium?
There's a better way.
Yeah.
There's always some burning. There's a better way, a simpler way to align people for the next best action to serve customers.
Yeah.
Regardless of the customer being internal.
Yeah.
Might be selling internally or externally to a company you might be selling to outside of your own.
Absolutely.
That was it. There was a better way to do it. There were too many platforms and too much tech out there that didn't work together.
Totally.
And it's all about that experience that preserves the customer relationship and the brand.
Yeah.
So that's what we're solving.
Yeah, I love it and love the mission, and super aligned, obviously, from my own background.
And
one of the conversations I really want to have today is about your background. You've been part of multiple hyperscale businesses, and I want to kind of talk through that journey in the beginning. Can you tell us what companies you were at, what that revenue growth looked like? Because I want to dive into that because I think that's going to set the foundation for our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in the legacy. That's the most important. I had 10 years at BMC Software.
Okay. Yeah.
And then from there, I had the good fortune of joining Splunk right at about 60 million in recurring revenue or in revenue. That was right when we were going perpetual subscription, term subscription, SaaS. Like that whole run was in the middle of that 7 years. So 60 million to 1.5 in total revenue. I think it was about 1.2 in recurring. Over 7 years, it was about a 35% CAGR.
Wow.
All organic.
Unbelievable.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
From legacy to having that, I call it a PhD in scale.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
And then after that, I took a year off, wrote a book, The Success Cadence, with Tom Schodorf and Dave Mattson, and then joined OutSystems for 3 years. $100 million business, wanting to expand globally.
Yeah.
Took it to 300 million over 3 years.
Amazing. And I feel like I can ask you hours worth of questions on those topics, right? But I think I'm curious, what was it about those companies that allowed you to go through that type of hypergrowth?
So with Splunk specifically, I cut my teeth. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
The last 2 years of BMC Software, we acquired Blade Logic. So there was somewhat of a reverse function. Old legacy company high-powered, highly operational company in Blade Logic. I got to work side by side with John McMahon and team for 2 years.
Yeah.
Most everybody else was removed from the business.
Yeah.
So I got a PhD there in operational discipline.
Absolutely.
And then I had the luck or the good fortune of going with an executive formerly from BMC to Splunk. That's Tom Schodorf.
Yeah.
He said, all right, bring the operational discipline with you,
Amazing.
build coaching into it so that we can develop a team from within and repeat and scale.
It's funny how if we talk about what works, it's the fundamentals.
It's the fundamentals,
right?
no doubt
Operational
about it.
rigor, right?
Yeah. So for me, that's, if we think of the markets around us are constantly changing.
They are.
You have to have a baseline of operational cadence within your own company for you and your teams to not go out of your mind. Yeah. You have to have a common way to describe, collaborate, and objectively assess the business because the markets are random. So if they're both if both sides are random, we're chaos internally, and the markets are nothing good happens. It's very stressful. So we normalized that at Splunk, and then joining OutSystems, 100 to 300 million, put the same frameworks and the same playbooks in place, wrapped around people doing the next best action.
Yeah, I love that, and I think I'm just curious, why are so many people shying away from the fundamentals, right? Like, I think just to, like, when you just said, the market's in chaos and our organization is in chaos, like, wow, that's a light bulb moment, because that is, I would say, most companies out there, right? So
it's the majority.
It is, right? So talk to me about like why we've just lost sight of this.
Fear. I think it's fear. We all talk to a lot of different executives and companies, and it has everything to do with the culture that the senior most executives put in place.
Yeah.
And tolerance for building or formalizing a repeatable cadence is low because they want numbers every quarter.
Yeah.
Well, they usually have set the numbers incorrectly because they have arbitrarily modeled it from the top down rather than bottoms up.
Right.
So the first problem is you got to unpack that, and that takes courage. And I don't think a lot of people have the fortitude to do that. They don't have the courage to do it.
Yeah. Wow, I'm going to take us a little different direction than I planned, right? Because like,
go for
this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, is that people with like, let's just call it senior leaders, right? Tenure is at an all-time low, right?
Yeah.
It's, 18, 24 months.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get fired ultimately anyway, why take a risk? Why try something new if you're going to get fired, right?
Well, so it depends what the new is. If it's the shiny new thing, then I'm with you.
Okay.
But if it's the fundamentals and it really is pragmatic and people development and process discipline and streamlining the way the operational design is put in place, then that you should do.
Right.
So in fact, you got to do both.
Yeah.
So those of us that have been around a long time and have seen it in many different ways, when you come in, you got to strive to make the number, but you also have to fix the underlying infrastructure and operational process, or nothing will scale.
Yeah. And I love that answer, right? So how do you do that at a fast moving business, right? Because let me give a little context. So one of the things that I've been talking about is like consolidated org structure or full life cycle. And I'm
a fan.
I know. And that's why
I'm all in on it.
I'm excited to talk about it, because I've been getting pushback, right? And it's funny because a lot of the people who give me pushback are, telling me, hey, you're right, you called it. But like, I'm just talking about things that were done a decade ago or done previously, right?
Yeah.
And so, how, and one of the things that I want to get your perspective on is sometimes people's pushback is organization's too big to make this type of change. It's moving too slow. We can't bring that much risk into the business. Like, how do you unpack that? Right?
I just think that's either they don't know how, they're not willing to ask for help, or they don't have the risk tolerance to just do it.
Yeah.
Literally.
The risk tolerance is a huge piece of this.
Yeah, it's you can't be fearful in this business. And if you come in, by the way, the title and the remit matter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flaws in companies that hire with a certain title, but they don't give the person the remit to do the work.
Nailed it.
And that's a huge disconnect. That's a board and executive team problem.
Yeah, totally.
So, so you have to delicately understand and unpack that, and then build trust within the exec team to make the changes to scale the business.
Yeah.
And buy time while you're doing the best you can
right.
at the same time. And that's ultimately how you have to do it.
You have to. I mean, that's the thing, right? I appreciate the comment on like, and the call out on title and power and responsibility. I think I've learned that if I look back at my career, I think I underestimated, the alignment of the executive team and the board and what they're going to allow you to do and not allow you to. And if going to an organization who's just going to make you run the playbook and then hold you accountable for the playbook they want to run, like, what kind of job is that, right? Some people are okay with that job, but like, that's a tough job.
It's a good way to maybe learn some things and cut your teeth, but you're not going to change features.
Yeah.
Especially if the playbook's not right.
Yeah.
And I do think it takes a lot of time, and you have to make some mistakes along the way to realize what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And why simplicity and structure first is what really matters.
Totally. And can you, let's go back to maybe the Splunk example, right? Can you give us some tactical examples of what happened when you went into that business with that team and implemented, that type of rigor?
Yeah. So, well, it was a process that took a couple of years.
Yeah.
It didn't require a ton in the beginning because things were moving very fast.
Sure.
And the model within the business, we had so Godfrey Sullivan, Tom Schodorf, two seasoned executives brought in at about 20 to 40 million. So they immediately right-sized the model. So when you get it right early, meaning the numbers are realistic and the capacity plan is truthful, and you help people learn, execute, or learn and do their job and get better, there's no limit. And that's what they did. So it was called a success model, virtually no overassignment of quota.
Okay.
So single digits.
Wow.
So, which meant you had to stay very close to your teams. Which meant capacity at the team level had to be balanced all of the time. So these are all things that were new, and we all learned them, and we figured out how to put the processes in place to hold true to that as long as we possibly could. From
incredible
sourcing people all the way through to offboarding.
Right. And I want to dig into that too. I guess I have one specific question. It's like, why do you think the model has shifted so much to the over assignment, right? Like, you talk to companies all the time, and there's no way they're getting the quota attainment, right? They just don't have the heads or the capacity or the proven success to get there.
I think that was the model.
Okay.
And only a few companies figured out how to design the plans appropriately. And you've seen them consistently outperform, whether it was MongoDB, AppDynamics, Splunk. Like, there's a whole core contingency where the executives were realists. And accountability was very high. But so was training and coaching and development. And you either went on the journey or you didn't. And if you didn't, it was surely because of lack of will.
Totally.
It wasn't because the resources weren't there. Every one of the companies mentioned had really strong programs and operational models that held people accountable and helped them succeed. And you watch them all scale pretty seamlessly and create billions of dollars in value.
Unbelievable. And I love that you talk about the people enablement. And I want to dig into that, right? Because I have always felt that enablement functions in organizations aren't utilized appropriately, right?
They're not. I agree. I shouldn't say they're not. I agree with you.
Right. And there are some companies that do it right. And I just think if it's a communication mechanism, it's never going to succeed. And, I've learned a lot in my career that it's not always the people, it's the org and the process, right? Like, they've got to be put in positions to succeed.
If you get all three right,
that's where the hyperscale
then
comes.
You're gold.
And I think I've learned in the decade and a half, almost 2 decades in software, it's like, wow, it is really hard to get all three things right.
Oh man, you have to have open collaboration and a lot of outward thinking, and then unpacking and repacking as a group. And there's this missed art in somehow leadership through fear crept into a lot of companies where it wasn't about some mutual agreement or understanding of how we're going to run a business. It was about, hey, I have a title, so just do it this way.
Totally.
Chase the number. It doesn't work. But so back to Splunk in the early days, you'll totally appreciate this. And I didn't. It didn't come to mind until I had a conversation with Deirdre about it recently. We actually ran sales and solutions. This was in 2010. The SEs, customer success, PS, our technical account managers, all under the same leadership.
It's funny.
One team, one approach. So now you think about that. We come in as a selling function, collaborating horizontally. The playbook is the same for both orgs.
Right.
We speak the same language with prospects and customers. We present the same narrative.
Yep.
We collaborate the same way based on the outcomes we're pursuing.
Sure.
And the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah. And I assume the goals are the same,
They're the
compensation's aligned, right? And so it's like, oh, of course this works, right?
Yeah. So I reporting to Tom, my first ask when I joined him was, I want to be on your comp plan because I want no confusion. We are going to translate the same message, and I'll be a lieutenant, and I'm going to collaborate with your leaders, and we're going to go get this thing done.
Good for you.
And that's how we did it.
It's crazy how incentives drive behavior. At the end of the day, everyone says it, but it's like, how do you build this into your motion and into your organization so that you're all doing the same thing? Because this is, my hot button is that, you got an AE team comped one way, SE team comped another, PS, there's no alignment. So no wonder no one's speaking the right language.
Fragmentation.
Yes. So why do you think there was such a move away from the full life cycle motion?
I don't know if it was intentional by companies doing it that way. I think it creeps in.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have really strong leadership that is willing to talk about why we shouldn't just let that happen, it happens.
Yeah.
And then momentum, and then before you know it, it's out of your control.
Yeah. I think you're right. You have to have really strong leadership at the top that says, this is the way we're going to do it. This is why we're going to do it. And let's, have a collaborative effort to make this done. Because I think, I always reference Liz Wiseman's multipliers, right? And she talks about the fiefdom, right? And the fiefdoms that have been building. And I think that, in my opinion, and I've now given this reference in too many interviews, is like, BDR, AE, SE, PS, CS, support, and just people aren't aligned. They're not comped the same. And no wonder, right, that people aren't working together.
It's amazing that you call this out. So we work with a lot of clients where even though those orgs report differently, we help them normalize that. Their language still has to be the same. Most, when we have those conversations with CEOs, any executives at that level, they start to think, wow, what you're describing makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
First step, second step, it's a change management process.
It totally is.
But if you're not doing it, the results aren't going to change.
Totally. Well, why do you think people are so afraid of the concept of change management?
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, right?
We hear terms like hearts and minds. I think we have to be frontal as executives that are driving change, not to command it.
Yeah.
You just do it with everybody.
Right.
So you have to actually be a part of the process if you're championing it.
Yeah.
People don't like to be told.
No.
But they do follow. They do follow if you can convey why we're doing this, the value, what the short-term steps are going to be, and how it's going to change the trajectory of a company.
Sure.
They will get on board with that. They want that. Nobody wants just a job.
No. Right.
Well, maybe they do.
Some
but
people do.
They just don't know. They haven't seen the other part.
Right. I was talking about this with actually our exec team. It's like, I worked at companies where people walk into work, and it's really hard, but you have a mission, you have a vision, everyone's bought in on the journey. And so, it's hard, but like you're working together to solve really hard problems. And that's the difference, I think, in my opinion, between good and great teams.
I totally agree. Usually the great teams, like as in a QBR, as an example, with executives, you don't just jump right into a presentation, or you don't do an organic or a generic pitch back on your result. We go around the room and you whiteboard. What are you thankful for?
Totally.
What's working really well? What would you change? And then before you know it, after you do that 2 or 3 quarters in a row, everybody's shoulder to shoulder, and you're fighting the battle together.
Totally.
And there's a bigger cause.
Totally. And that's when there's that, amazing revenue numbers, NRR numbers are huge.
Totally.
So I'm curious, like, as you think about the aligned work function and share what you can, right? Like, what are some of those metrics and goals that you've utilized, right? Because I think everyone wants to over rotate on like net new business and growth at all costs, but at the end of the day, right? Like, how do you pay the rest of the functions? How do you align the rest of the functions?
So if you want the metrics that we always have looked at, and we've looked at it since 2010, it's obviously there's a direct relationship, ARR lead time to first value, net retention, lifetime customer value.
Mhm.
If you fill in the gaps with the next best action and the process that make that seamless cross-functionally, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Because most of the time,
Yeah.
sellers that are young and don't align in the enterprise, young and maybe haven't been taught to align
Yeah.
to value.
Right.
They just do transactions.
Totally.
They churn.
Yeah.
When you align to value and you go a little bit slower in the beginning,
Yeah.
lead time to first value,
Yes.
because what they bought is what you delivered,
Right.
because it's on point, it's
Right.
accurate, is fast.
Yeah.
Then that retention immediately follows because
Right.
they're happy
Right.
and they buy more. And it's a repeat and a repeat
Yeah.
and repeat.
It's like kind of crazy to me that like we've lost sight of this, right? Because
Yeah.
you know the time to value is everything. You know, speaking in value, and I think the hardest thing that when I talk to people is like, how can you expect to sell somebody something, never implement it or implement it effectively, and then when they churn, you're asking questions like they never got the value that you sold them, right?
Yeah. So if you think about that back to the program concept,
Yeah.
when someone comes into an organization in the beginning of their career, if they don't learn that that's the model
Yeah.
from day one,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
how can we expect
Yeah.
that 6 months or 9 months in, they're gonna have any understanding of how to drive those metrics?
Totally.
So everybody has to be baselined on
Yeah.
the fundamental
Yeah.
metrics that the
Yeah.
company wants to pursue,
Right.
and what the leading indicators of activity and behavior and skill are
Totally.
to get to that.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Totally.
The rest takes care. The rest falls into place.
It falls into place. And so I want your point kind of go back to the enablement aspect,
Yeah.
right? Like, how do you build an enablement program that gets the buy-in, right? Because we both kind of talked, it doesn't happen overnight. It has to take quarters at a time.
Yeah.
You have to have the right people in the boat. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the enablement word is misused, and in many cases, companies they don't staff the functions
Right.
properly. Salespeople want to learn from salespeople.
Yes.
Technical or solutions people want
Yeah.
to collaborate and learn from solutions people.
Totally.
So there's two aspects of what we'll call enablement in teams, that selling teams.
Yeah.
There's revenue,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's product or
Mhm.
capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have one or the other.
Yeah.
You have to have parallel paths.
Right.
And the revenue aspect of it, every leader has to have skin in that game.
Yes.
They
Totally.
they have to lead from the front. So what you train on or what you enable on through your enablement team, supported by everybody in the field. Like, you can't expect an enablement team to go in the front of the room with all of these salespeople. That it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
They can
Right.
design it and get it all set up.
Yeah.
You need leaders in front of the room helping you deliver
Totally.
that message.
Totally.
And then it should translate to the cadence in the field when they leave that room.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
closer we get on that alignment,
Yeah.
the better the performance is, hands down.
Absolutely well said. And I think actually something that we've implemented at TestBox in our own policy is that when we are rolling out, TestBox, we do a champions rollout. We get some of the best AEs, we get them bought in. And then when we're doing the training to the rest of the team, the AEs are giving their feedback and training. And it's like, to me, it's like, how is this not the process for everybody, right? They don't want to listen to me. I'm a vendor, right? Like, I'm a vendor at the end of the day. Sure, we're a partner with some of the other people in the business, but if the top performing AE is giving a presentation on how TestBox helped, like the word that we've used from one of our customers called demo with confidence. Why would you want to hear that from me when you can hear it from this person?
Well, so you're rare. You let them do that.
Yeah.
That takes courage.
Yeah.
And it also takes an understanding of how it's supposed to play out.
Sure.
So you got them to the dance. They're going to end up lead the dance from there.
Yeah.
That is a design principle that as you scale TestBox, it will pay multiple dividends because you're building champions within the companies you sell to.
100%.
That is a absolute world-class best practice.
Yeah.
But it's scary for companies to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So think about the transaction versus aligning to value, finding, building, and testing champions.
Yes.
And then having them help you align your solution and lead that meeting.
Yeah.
How tight are you in that company when that happens?
Absolutely.
Your future is solid at that point.
Yeah.
Anything less, and it's up for churn.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
You've embedded you've embedded them in the process.
It had to, right? And I think One of the things that has valued for me, and I think for my own career, is that, as a solutions engineer leader, startups, Salesforce, start my own business, but now going back to tech, I wanted to bring that solutions mindset back to go to market, because I think this is part of the impetus of this interview series. Like we're running these plays and these playbooks that like have worked at different companies, but what I really want to dig in, I kind of waited to the end to have this conversation. It's like, we have lost sight of who matters, and that's the customer. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And like, that's why I was like, I want to go and put my money where my mouth is and build a go-to-market organization that's centered around the customer experience. Right. Yeah. So I'm curious, because I know that this is a core value for you. Right?
It totally is. I couldn't agree more. And, it's back to relationships.
Yeah.
All the tech in the world can't build a personal relationship with you. Customers, as cheeky as it sounds, like, they want to be with people they know and trust.
Absolutely.
And if you're slinging revenue, trying to close it, force them to unnaturally close a transaction that's not aligned with their personal interests or their company goals, you're done. Yeah. So it's back to champion building and relationships is what builds customers for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what they want. That's what companies want. There's been too much noise in the system.
There has. Well, what do you think it is about just general go-to-market motions that have resulted in us realistically losing sight of the customer?
I think it's a disconnect from the board down to the contributors. Sure. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Speaking with a lot of companies like you do, speaking with a lot of boards, they're completely misaligned with the reality of what has to happen at the ground level to get the job done.
Yeah.
And it's a passion of mine to try to bring that closer together. And I'll give you an example. I won't name you probably could pick the company out. There's only a couple. I'm in the boardroom, and first question an investor asks me, first board meeting, how many more quota carriers can you hire? I'm like, I literally I lost it. You got to be out of your mind asking me that question. Yeah. Like, is there that much of a disconnect with reality?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to go see everybody. I have to watch everybody and observe them in meetings and understand what we have today.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I'll do that while committing to a number as well.
Sure.
So we touched on it earlier. It's a hard job.
Yeah. Right.
Because you really do have to be everywhere as much as you can. Right. Otherwise, you can't build a movement.
No.
So in that scenario, I went out after that board meeting.
Yeah.
We made the number for that. We made the commit. We didn't make the number.
Yeah.
Went on the road. Came back for the next board meeting. Took 20% of the team out. Right. It's significant.
Yeah.
Start and then built it up from there.
Wow.
And it compounded and compounded and compounded.
Do you think, and take us a slightly different route, that the pressure on founders, CEOs from the board and VCs ultimately lead to this disconnect on the field? Because I think that you're probably not necessarily, you're probably in rarer company that's going to go into the board and say, no, I'm not doing this, right? Or this is,
You can't, it takes a lot of scar tissue to do that. And you have to have a really strong network that coaches you through those things.
Sure.
Because you can't just wing it.
Yeah.
So, I think that happens in time.
Yeah.
And I do think the pressures and the changing dynamics in industry and markets, they force bad behavior.
They do.
Urgency forces bad behavior.
Wow, that's a quote that I'm sure is on a wall somewhere.
Let's do it.
I know.
I mean, urgency. There's a natural urgency that we should have. So we'll say discipline over motivation. A natural urgency gives you a high level of discipline as you're executing.
Sure.
But false urgency because of term sheets that are incorrectly set up or misweighted in any particular direction, create bad behavior.
Right.
And it's bad for everybody. So I don't know why it's not neutralized or a little more open, and rather than it being so opaque.
Yeah. One of the sayings that I've had, the last couple of years is I just think that too many people trade current problems for future problems, right?
Totally.
And so I feel like having urgency has been a superpower of mine, but I like the concept of the false urgency because, I think so many times we see the problem in the moment, and we're like, how do we solve this now? And we'll worry about the repercussions later, right?
Yeah.
And then the downstream implications end up compounding. You talk about positive compounding, it's ultimately negative compounding.
Yes.
Over time, right? And so
You can't recover from it.
No.
It's so you create so much either people debt or capacity debt
yeah,
or expense debt, whatever it may be, based on those bad decisions,
yeah,
that it's not recoverable. So surrounding yourself with execs that help you see around the corner.
yeah.
They've done it before.
Yeah,
They know where they know how to avoid the truck coming straight for you and say, well, okay,
Yeah.
you basically sold a little bit of your future with that decision. You have to
Sure.
unpack that and put it back.
sure. Makes a ton of sense. And so, as we think about, building a customer centric business, right? For you at Skillerbium, like what does that look like? Yeah, you're the CEO, you're a co-founder, you're running the show. Like you get the blank canvas to build the business, right?
It's called, so it's very slow. It's very slow in the beginning intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mistake laden and not intentionally, but you have to fail really fast.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you get the first 18 months out of the way
yeah.
and you know what your patterns are supposed to look like and you trust it,
Mm-hmm.
but you center everything on just a few customers to get that right,
Right.
rather than urgency for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Logo,
Yep. Yep.
you don't learn anything.
No.
So we've intentionally done the former,
Yeah.
where we're going really slow and getting very deep with a few customers.
Yeah. Smart.
And it's empowering in a big way because we're having executive level conversations that matter.
Yeah.
We're not
Right.
a transaction. So we're living what we're living what we
I
profess.
love that, right? And I think that so many early stage companies, and you're seeing it in the news now, especially in this AI world, right? Is like, their customer lists are bogus. They don't actually have ARR. There's opt-outs in all these AI contracts. Like it is really bad. And like, I know of a couple things that haven't been publicized yet that it's like, wow,
I'm with you.
Yeah, this is the norm right now for a lot of these companies.
It is, and everybody wants to go fast, but they've never done it in a lot of cases themselves before.
Right. Totally.
Let alone with the super powerful AI, which it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But guess what? There's humans involved.
Totally.
So like AI doesn't solve your problems.
No.
AI helps your people be better, but you have to package that up.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it's AI for the sake of AI.
Yeah. Agreed.
Crash and burn all day long. I watched it. I watch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm curious too, is like you've seen, these hype cycles, you've seen changes in technology and SaaS. Like, what's your general thesis of like the now? Right?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful question. So AI in helping you execute process more precisely and helping you determine the next best action before you might do it yourself through pattern matching is gold. Yeah. But AI for the sake of AI is a disaster. Yeah. So when you mix AI with proven methods that we know scale, you really have something that can take you the distance. Yeah. And we have to think in horizons 5 to 7 years. Right. Not that the tech is going to be around that long. It's going to keep getting better and better, clearly. Yeah. But if we have a trajectory that we're looking at, the benefits, they compound exponentially.
Absolutely.
So if you're quarter to quarter, all you're doing is crashing and burning.
Totally.
Try something new. Something new. No. Back to the fundamentals. Yeah. Use AI in addition to something that is pattern matched and proven to work. Yeah. You're gold.
Love that. And the next best action. What's interesting about this podcast and this interview series is that I'm intentionally talking about, the cutting edge and new things that people are doing. But in this conversation, I wanted to talk about fundamentals entirely because we get so enamored with like new playbook and what's working. But like, I think the core outcome that I wanted people to get away with from today, because it's your specialty, is it's all about the fundamentals.
Well, it comes back to the people.
Yeah.
Right. So the people are the common denominator. The tech will always change. Yeah. Ideally, if you have the right group of people aligned on the right mission. Yeah. Meaning we have to be intentional. Yeah. Where those that are unwilling or detractors. Yeah. From the mission, we give them a chance. Right. but you have to remove them from the equation
Yeah.
because if you keep them, they dilute the value of everybody else.
Totally.
So
Totally.
this is about building teams
Yeah.
and scaling companies.
Yeah.
And so therefore, detractors shouldn't, they should have a shot,
Yeah.
but they make the choice, they're
Right.
out.
You're only as good as your like worst employee, right? You
Ye-
know, like whatever you tolerate and allow to happen, it sets an expectation in your business.
I'll give you, so I've started anchoring on this concept, and I'm really passionate about it. Culture is defined by the behavior of the senior executive in any room at any given time. If they deviate and go, oh, don't worry about that, everyone follows.
Yeah,
if they say, hey, listen, here's why we're going to do it this way, and here's why it's going to compound and pay us dividends.
Yeah.
People go, okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's do it. It makes
You're totally
sense.
right.
So it is a behavior thing.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, when people make exceptions, then it's okay for everyone else to make exceptions. So,
Yeah.
you know, this has been a fascinating conversation. I really appreciate your insights. You know, what is one thing though that you think is fundamentally changing in the future, right? Is something right now kind of considered a trend that you think will be the norm over the next couple of years?
Yes, but
Okay.
it's not technology specifically.
Okay.
I think we're trending, and you and I agree. We've talked about it. We're trending where, at least in the enterprise, it's back to the alignment of people
Yeah.
to serve customers or prospects in a common and professional way. So the trend to me, what I'm seeing is professional selling is back.
Yeah.
And cross-functional collaboration is back.
Yeah.
And the beneficiary is the customer experience.
Ultimately, yep.
And I think that will become more and more in vogue.
Yeah.
And those that do that right
Yeah.
and build teams that understand that will have the most success with the new technologies that arrive.
I love that answer, right? And I think as you kind of talk about AI changing next best action and some of these tasks, like the relationship matters, professional selling matters.
Yes.
Is there a point of view that you have on like the profile of go-to-market professionals over the next couple of years? Like what changes, what doesn't change?
So it's a tough question.
Yeah.
I would take if I'm building a company or I'm advising a company, I would take a clean slate young seller with no baggage that is willing to learn a professional model and wants to go on a career journey over someone that is going to be a lone wolf and crash my system all day long, every day.
Yeah.
Now, the big miss is lone wolves are valuable.
They are.
Get them in the room with you as your leader. Don't let them exist on their own.
Right.
Unpack their brain and repack it and make them a part of the answer.
Totally.
And then you have power.
Right.
Like that's it. It's about back to people. Like to me, it's people and aligning.
You made a comment that you learned to be coachable too late in life.
I was 37.
Okay. Tell me like what that is. And
you're younger than that.
I'm 37. So tell me, you know, what it was that was the light bulb for you, because if anyone's listening right now and he's in the same situation or earlier,
I told the story. I won't use his name, but I told the story last week in Las Vegas. I had a leader sat me down. He was a friend of mine, boxed my ears and said, I'm firing you. I'm firing you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, dude, you're just doing whatever you want to do. I was doing well. I was making a number, but I was doing it at the expense of the company. And I'm like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 37. I'm an adult. Like, no, this is not. Exactly. It's not about you.
Yeah.
We're on a bigger mission.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, don't fire me.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
And that literally,
way.
I'm not kidding. Literally.
Really?
And the rest was history.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. It's never too late in life to learn something new.
I'm
right?
learning every day.
Absolutely.
You know what? I was afraid to admit that was a powerful approach.
Yeah.
I was afraid that I didn't realize couldn't know everything.
Right.
And I think that was too late in life for me as well.
Yeah.
You learn from the people around you, which is surround yourself with the
100%.
people that are pretty successful and have ethics and know how to do this.
Yeah.
And the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah. No, I can feel that from our conversation, right? I'm a big John Wooden fan. And John Wooden has a quote that says, famous coach from UCLA basketball, it's what you learn after you know it all that counts. Right?
So that's amazing. And yes.
Yeah.
You know, so I have 3 boys and we talk about that's the approach, constantly be coachable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to have the answers. You're going to feel like it, but pause,
Yeah.
just let it play
Yeah.
out. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot.
It
Like,
is.
So
Yeah, that's great.
I'm living my dream because
Yeah.
I am now I'm comfortable being whom I always was.
Amazing. It's
With
good.
my kids, with my business
Yeah.
associates, with my customers, with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And I used to think that it was something different.
Yeah.
I really did.
It's amazing when that kind of aha unlock moment happens. It's like, look,
Yeah.
I'm going to be myself, and this is who I am, and these are my values, and everything out the world unlocks.
The
at
world
that point,
unlocks.
right? So
You sleep way better.
yeah,
You sleep way better. And what you do is you're like, for me personally, I'm constantly tuning
yeah,
the same best practices I've always relied on.
yeah,
I'm tuning them to make them better and better
yeah,
with inputs from others
yeah.
that are giving me new things.
Amazing.
And it's empowering and,
Yeah.
and it's repeatable. And that's the best part.
That is. Bart, this has been a fantastic conversation.
No, we're not
Thanks
done
so
yet.
much.
We can't be done.
I know. Thanks for joining us. We got to do this again. Right?
I will.
think we have to do this
Man, my
again.
pleasure.
And I think the big thing that I want people to take away, is just the fundamentals and getting back to the basics, and rigor matters, right?
Oh man, yes, yeah, and it's scary and it's hard
Yeah,
because people don't like structure.
Yeah,
But structure's your friend.
It is.
Because once you get it right, you can deviate,
Yeah.
and you'll know when to deviate.
yeah,
If you don't get it right and get that in place first, you're chaotic all the time.
all the time.
You won't sleep.
You're right.
It's
You're
no
right.
fun.
It's not fun for anybody at the end of the
No.
day.
It's not.
All right, Bart, thanks so much for your time. This has been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, man, my pleasure as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.